The Tombac button, found all over New England. Any metal detectorist will tell you, nothing comes out of the ground looking like this. That's why I'm going to show you how I clean the Tombac buttons that I find. The first thing you'll need is a cup of warm water. Next, take some hydrogen peroxide and fill a small cup about halfway. Let's grab a couple Q-tips. Also grab something that is preferably made of wood in order to scratch any of the gunk and the buildup that has added up over time. Grab your baking soda. Final necessity, dirty Tombac buttons. So the first thing that I'll do is I'll look around and kind of see where there's any crud buildup. And I'll take a little wooden piece and I'll just scrape, not really scratching that hard, just kind of going lightly, but making sure to bear down hard enough to scratch some of that stuff off that has been building up over many years. And about like that. Wipe it a little bit with my hands and flip to the other side. You'll see it's really cruddy. And just kind of, just like you would with a coin, lightly scratch, just try to get the surface stuff off. I actually like using these little sticks. It's the bottom of an incense. And I just broke it off when it was done and found another purpose for it. You can sharpen the end with a knife if you'd like, if you don't want to get in those tight spots and pick. But I found these to be very helpful, so I keep them. Now take the cup half full of hydrogen peroxide and add about a half a cup worth of baking soda. Next, you're going to want to take your Tombac and drop it in. You're going to want the button to sit for about 5 minutes. Take a toothbrush, stir it right up, and you'll start hearing it fizz away. And you may actually see a little discoloration start happening because of all that dirt and muck coming off of that button. Just do that for a little bit. So after a good soak, I like to stir it up a little bit more, about 10 seconds or so, kind of moving whatever's remaining on there, anything that's hanging, give it a chance to break off. And as you can tell, I put a towel down because this can get kind of messy, but you can actually see some of the crud floating right there, breaking off. Go ahead and remove the Tombac. Try to leave some, if I can grab some out of there, some of the baking soda on your fingers, so you have a little bit of the solution in your hands to really start pushing and working some of that buildup off the button. After a little bit of scrubbing with your hands, and go ahead and right back into the baking soda bath for about, I'd say, another 3 minutes. After patiently waiting, you're now ready to start really seeing what this button will look like once all that crud is off. I'll move this to the side. Grab your cup of warm water and then just dip and rub. Get all that baking soda mixture off of there. You'll feel it through your fingertips as the button cleans up a little bit cleaner. There is some staining there. You're not always going to get that unless you really get into there with some kind of more of an abrasive brush. It's not always going to come off. I mean, I like to leave a little bit of coloration on there. It kind of gives it some character. But I do try my best to get most of it to come off. Like that. And flip it over. I'm going to do the same on the other side. A little dip in the solution. And work. Actually, if I lay it down like this, maybe it'll work a little bit better. Let's see. And as you can tell, I'm pushing fairly hard. I'm trying just to get some of that remaining surface matter off of it. There. Another good thing about having this towel right here, which I would do anyway, is just kind of really grind it into that towel. Really clean whatever is remaining off of there. Just like that. Next, final bath. Drop it in. Grab your toothbrush. Swirl it around a little bit. Just like a washing machine with clothing items. And it should come out looking fairly decent. But I guess you never really know until you see the final product. And just like that, it could be ready for display. I mean, I know some of you probably want to do it a little bit better. You might have better methods. But I really like this method because, like I said, some of that staining and aging on there really gives it character. And it reminds me that this would have been lost to time if I hadn't come around with my metal detector. One last thing that you can do to really polish up the Tombac. I have this piece of felt here. And I just really start working that Tombac button back and forth, really getting into that felt and trying to put somewhat of a shine on it. And after the polishing is over, you're left with the display quality Tombac button. This button went through the same process using very, very, very simple cleaning methods. No hard abrasives, no constant scrubbing. The scratches obviously give it some character, but that is one of the better Tombacs that I've ever recovered and cleaned. So I just wanted to give everyone an idea of how I clean Tombac buttons when I bring them home from the woods or the fields, wherever I find them. I do find a lot here in New England. It's pretty much every time we go out, somebody's pulling out a Tombac button or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. I know this method isn't for everybody, but it does work for me. I hope you enjoyed. If you like what you're seeing, I do plan on putting more videos out like this, especially some of the stuff that I've learned over the years, just to kind of share my knowledge and hopefully help you preserve and defend history.